All right, guys, welcome back. Boots come in pairs. Nice to talk about baseball again. If you've been following our Facebook page at all, we have our preseason all BCIP team. We will talk about that probably closer to midseason, but if you take a look at that, not doing so great in some areas. Some are going well, but our predictions are good and bad, but we'll see how those shake out as we get close to the All-Star break and towards the end of this season. Cubs had a lot of shake-up this week. They had Shota go down, and we didn't know if this would happen, but Cade Horton made his debut in New York, pitched well, looked very sweaty the whole time. I don't know if that was just the first game. I can't imagine pitching my first big league game. I can't imagine playing on a baseball field at all like that. But he looked very sweaty. Moises Ballesteros made his first appearance at Wrigley Field because Ian Happ went on the IL with an oblique. Didn't do much with the bat, but made some contact. What do you think about those two guys making their debuts that we didn't really think were going to make them this year?
Yeah, it was quite refreshing. Again, you hear so much about all the young, promising players they have down on the farm. Horton, in particular, was somebody that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Weren't too sure his debut would be this soon. He hasn't had a ton of time in the minor leagues because of injuries. He was pitching exceptionally well in AAA. Had an ERA about 1.5, a little north of a 1.5. Striking out over a guy an inning was Arsenal's top notch, but we want more time. We want more time, but kind of just called for it. I mean, staff is a little bit thin as it is. Shota going down is not good. We're not sure the timetable with the hamstring, but I mean, getting your first appearance in relief, 4 solid innings. Really, the only mistake made was to Brett Beatty, who hit a tank off him. But fastball was electric, hitting as high as 97. Curveball looked nasty, like an elevator type curveball, 12-6. Was throwing that slider that kind of had a little tail away from right-handed hitters. Looked very, very confident. Very happy to see him perform like that against a team like the Mets, who are one of the baseball's best. And he gets another start tomorrow. He actually gets to take the bump against the Sox in the first Crosstown Classic game of the year. So hopefully he can continue the momentum. And as far as Moises is concerned, was tearing the cover off the ball in the minors. Had an OPS over 950. Didn't really have much more to prove down there. And yeah, the Cubs need a bat. Ian Happ is a very important bat at the top of the lineup. I saw Michael Busch taking some reps at third, so maybe Moises will get first base as his secondary position. He's naturally a catcher, so maybe we'll see Mike playing a little bit of third base and Moises playing some first or spotting at DH. But very excited to have both those guys up. I'm excited to see Moises get his first hit. Had 4 groundouts in the first game, but contact's good. He's not facing slouches anymore, or if he ever was, but very, very encouraged. He's only 21 years old, too. We need to remember that. So, but yeah, very excited to see these guys come up.
Yeah, there's a huge jump from AAA to the majors, so not expecting him to do work miracles. I feel like that first game he was in, every at bat he came up, there was runners in scoring position. It was a big at bat. So I feel like he had the opportunity to do something really cool. It just didn't happen. But yeah, the level of play from AAA to Major League Baseball, even when you're playing the Marlins, is really good.
Right.
Another note from Cade Horton was the way he finished and ended up getting the win was striking out Juan Soto with a shake-off changeup. His first and only changeup of the game that he threw. Was that one. They were asking counsel about that on the score yesterday. And they're like, oh, any further thoughts? He goes, yep, good pitch. That was it. Like, he's very simple in his responses to those things. But, yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how many innings he goes. I mean, I think bringing him in the second inning was a way to give him a little more longevity, possibly get him a win, which it did because he pitched 4 innings and pitched the 5th meaningful one. Our wins really the barometer, not really, but it was nice to get him out there in his debut, nice to get him a win. And it worked out.
And people need to remember that he has not been a full-time pitcher for very long. When he was at Oklahoma, I think he was a third baseman. He kind of did both, but he was mostly a third baseman, but had some injuries. He had an absolutely magical run in the College World Series, and that's kind of what got him on the map. Like, he was just lighting up the radar gun. He was throwing big innings for the Sooners, and that's really what elevated his draft stock, and ultimately it led the Cubs to picking him quite high. So I don't know, man. I love the stuff. He's a bulldog out there. He's young. I would like him to hold up. Hopefully, get him some run support. And yeah, I think the stuff will continue to translate. He's a very important player for this franchise, and I'm excited for him for sure.
Cubs need guys to eat innings. They have a lot of guys on the IL. They have a lot of guys coming back from injury. So as many innings as he can give them, we will take. If it's in the bullpen role, once everybody gets back, we'll take that too. But meaningful outs, he's got good stuff. Another young guy I see, because the Brewers are kind of teetering on the season where are they going to be relevant? Now they're in third place. They're 4 games back. Jacob Mizorowski.
Yeah, Jay Missile.
103 miles per hour today or yesterday. I don't know. I saw it today, so it could have been today. That's a guy that probably should be up soon. But they're doing a lot of looking down to Nashville, which isn't necessarily a good thing to be doing in May, but that's what they're doing. Another team kind of scuffling with roster decisions. This has been a big topic on MLB Network. Everyone's kind of giving their opinions. That is Rafael Devers, again, with a position switch. Tristan Casas blew out his patellar tendon, so that is sparking. Hey, Craig Breslow came down. John Henry flew out on their road trip, which he never does, to talk to Devers about the possibility of him putting some time in at first base. The need is there. And Rafael Devers has essentially said, no, I don't want to. You took away my glove at third base. You said I'm a DH. I don't want to switch my position again. I would argue DH is not a position. It's just a spot in the order in the lineup. True, he has not taken reps at first base in a major league game. I understand that. But you have a glove. You're 28 years old. You make $30 million a year. I don't understand why he would be so blunt and say no. This looks horrible. I don't understand. I just don't see a good resolution for his tenure in Boston, especially with how well Alex Bregman plays and how well good of a fielder he is. There's really no debate here. But
right. I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. So let's rewind to the 2020 season, which is the first season that we do not have the Red Sox big three, which at the time was Rafa Devers, Xander Bogaerts, and Mookie Betts. The Red Sox put their eggs in the Devers basket, gave him a lot of money. And the Bogaerts thing is looking like it's working out at the moment. The Betts thing is kind of up in the air, but I want to pull some numbers for these three players during that time. Since the move was made, since the big three was broken up, Rafi Devers has played in 690 games. Mookie Betts has played in 627 games. Bogey's played in 658 games. So Devers has played in more games. He has hit 144 home runs to Mookie's 128 to Bogaerts' 104. He has driven in 459 runs to Betts' 390 RBIs to Bogaerts' 302 RBIs. So more production. All hitting about the same, 276 for Bogaerts, 283 for Betts, 282 for Bogey, and then an 860 OPS for Devers, an 894 OPS for Betts, and a 790 OPS for Bogey. So obviously Mookie Betts is the best of the bunch, but when you're the Red Sox and you're looking for production and you're looking for games played, Devers has been there. Devers has done what is asked of him. Devers has performed. They made probably the right decision. I mean, and this is me being a Mookie Betts fan, Mookie Betts being one of my favorite players in the game, Mookie Betts being a superior defender. It doesn't look like they missed as much. When it comes to asking him to switch positions, yes, the right thing to do would probably be, as a player, this organization's invested a lot of money in. I can learn first base. But on the other side of it, it's a mindset thing. We have talked in depth how difficult the first base position is, especially now, and how incredible guys like Pete Alonso had been a first baseman his entire career, subpar until a couple of years ago. The strides that he's made are ridiculous. Like, he's an unbelievable player. Can Devers do that? Absolutely. But this is the second time, and I will argue, like, yeah, it's not a position in the field, but it's still a position, designated hitter. You have to get in a mindset of, this is what I'm doing. All my focus is here. I don't have anything else to take my mind off any struggles. Like, usually when you're struggling at the plate, which everyone will, you have the field. Like, hey, I made a nice play in the field that might get me in a better mindset for hitting or what have you. So to ask him to make another position change, we're going to call it a position change, and especially something he's never played before, that's a really tough thing to do. And the Boston media being as critical as they are, like, they're going to, like, if he doesn't perform well, like, it's going to be more scrutiny. So I kind of have a soft spot for him, and I kind of agree with him in this situation. I'm definitely a team first kind of guy, but it's like, okay, like, why do you keep asking me to switch? Like, why do I understand filling need, and it's the major leagues though. Like, if you're in Little League, like, yeah, okay, I'll go over and play first base, but this is a completely different thing.
The need is Tristan Casas blew out his patellar tendon, and now you're putting guys like Abraham Toro at first base, utility players at first base. He tells them, go look in the market. The market right now is not trading anybody. People aren't giving up their first baseman. That's so valuable. So you have to look internally. If you can put Devers at first base and put any player at DH, that your next best hitter at DH, that solves a huge lineup issue.
But who's the backup first baseman? Like, Tristan Casas was not the only first baseman on that in that roster.
But if
they have other guys. Like, you have to have other guys. Devers wasn't even on the depth chart at first base. You're asking someone who doesn't play the position at all to just slot in there after you've already asked him to switch once already.
You've already taken his $30 million.
Right, but he doesn't play the position. Like, well, I'm sure Jose Altuve, like, when they wanted him to move to left field, like, he prepared for it in the offseason. They asked him. Like, they had other options at second base, I guess. But it's like, this, he's not even. But he wasn't on the depth chart.
The way he's talking.
But he's not a first baseman. Like, that's not the position he plays. Like, he's not prepared to do it. Like, it's one thing if you come to him in the offseason and said, hey, we want you to play a little first base this season, just in case something happens. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I understand being a team first player, but, like, Ryan, why do you not have anybody?
You haven't played baseball in almost a decade. Do you want to go play first base for the Red Sox?
Of course I do. Okay. But I don't.
Okay. I'm just saying, though, anyone else would kill for that. And he played third base, which I would argue is 10 times more difficult than first base. I understand they're all different, but you know what? You played the hot corner. I'm pretty sure you could go to the lukewarm corner and scoop some balls out. And even if you don't, no one's going to be harping on you for it. I just think it's an opportunity for him to be a team player. David Ortiz was ripping into him. He goes, this is not how you respond. His attitude is the biggest thing. Oh, you're coming to me and now you need my help. I don't want to.
Just because you can play the position doesn't mean you should play the position. Like, that. It's just, to me, like, these guys can rip into him all they want, but I guarantee he's not the only guy who would be in this situation. Who has been asked to switch their position twice in a season, and who has zero previous experience at the position.
I don't acknowledge switching to DH as a position switch because that is
it's still a mindset. Like, it's still a mindset.
Even
you go from playing the field every day to only being
even when he's digging his heels in on third base. Like, I'm a third baseman. Actually, Alex Bregman is a much better third baseman.
Correct.
So it's that combined with this stance of how can you ask me? What another thing he said, which Mark DeRosa was going in on, because Mark DeRosa was a super utility player. Again, I understand that's not everybody, but he's like, I can't play every position on the diamond. He's like, they're not asking you to play every position on the diamond. Trust me. He goes, they don't want you playing outfield.
Right.
They don't want you playing even in the middle of the diamond. They want you to play the other corner. Just figure it out. Like it opens up your roster when you have a guy like that who's able to, hey, where do you need me to go, coach? That's all they're looking for. We pay you $30 million a year.
Right.
Where do you need me today, coach?
But like the question we need to ask is why? Like why is he acting this way? Why does he feel this way? Like why is the organization handling it this way? Why is it getting leaked to the media? I feel like this shouldn't be like a widely known thing. If he were playing in Arizona, we wouldn't even hear about this. But it's in Boston. It's big time media. He's a soundbite every time he takes the mic. Like I just think it's a little bit unfair to him, like how he's being treated. I don't think we know the whole story. Cora, and the thing is, it's like we can say like there's the communication barrier. Like Cora is Puerto Rican. Like he speaks the language. He talks to Rafi. I don't know if you've watched that Red Sox like documentary like into the 2024 season. You should watch that. It's a good one. But it just shows their ins and outs like every day, following them through the 2024 season. It's like 8 1-hour episodes. But you got to think like can he talk to Cora about this? Do they have closed door meetings? What's going on? Like even the whole topic of signing Bregman, which you would do 8 days out of the week, you would sign Bregman. But it's like, was this a conversation that ownership had with him? Like your cornerstone player, like, hey, we're going to go after a third baseman, and he might be our third baseman. We might want to play him at third because he makes our team better defensively. Which is something we struggled with last year.
The bigger problem with the Red Sox is they haven't made the postseason with any consistency the last 10 years.
It's been more than that.
Barring a random World Series win, I would call that random because it came out of nowhere. They've come in 4th or 5th place like 4 of the last 5 years. That is the big problem with the Red Sox because you're like, where's their depth at first base?
Right. Well, they also don't spend money. And like they really haven't been spent since Theo went on the spending spree with the Sandovals and the Crawfords and all those guys. They have not been spending any money.
When you were just breaking down, the comparison between Mookie Betts, Bogarts, and Devers, and you're like, well, they made the right decision. No, they didn't, because they should have just signed all 3 of them because they have enough money and they should all still be playing for the Red Sox regardless of their production. They're all about the same production.
And
you can have those 3 hitters plus Bregman right now. Just saying.
And I hope that they don't make the same mistake with this current big 3 with Christian Campbell and Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony, because you got 3 bona fide studs who are in their early 20s. Like how many teams can do that in their lifetime? Have 3 or 4 guys who are like major league ready, superstars. They're going to be great. They're going to help your team be great. You can't fumble the bag twice.
Well, I would argue that's not a good comparison because you're comparing a World Series winning team with an MVP and a half, Mookie being the MVP, like Bogart's an established shortstop, Devers an established World Series winner. You can't compare those 3 to what they gave up 5 years ago. It's asinine what they did. Mookie Betts should never have left the Red Sox. You write him a blank check. Like that just doesn't happen. This current roster, if they don't perform, they probably blow it up again because it's just
and they got peanuts for him.
Yeah,
Alex Verdugo was okay, and no one else panned out. Like I don't know why. It's just like the Cubs. I don't know why we choose to love these organizations because all they do is let us down.
I think that's the biggest consensus out of this is it. Personally, it's disappointing to hear a player like Rafael Devers, dig his heels in, and his attitude sucks about this. I don't think that's debatable. His attitude sucks about the position changes. You should always be willing to, do whatever you can for the betterment of the team. I don't know how that's affecting the locker room. It may not be. You're right. It may just be a Boston media thing. But the bigger picture is the Red Sox don't do enough to fill their roster, and that's why you're currently sitting in a position where Kissas is out for the year, and now you need to fill first base, and you don't have any bandwidth to do it. and now you're asking your mediocre third baseman to go over to first base because he was
Right.
atrocious at third base for
Right.
the last 5 years.
Right.
So
And to me, that's the bigger problem is that you don't have any depth at that position and you're asking an already not great fielder to go and fill the position.
yeah,
But I don't know. They have to figure it out. I can't believe the fans haven't come for ownership or any like they are frustrated. I know
yeah.
they're frustrated.
Well, I mean, again, I listen to Chicago media every day and I hear them complain. I can only imagine what Boston media does on a daily basis, and I'm sure it's just complain. And like the Celtics are on the verge of getting knocked out. I'm sure they just won a championship. I'm sure they're complaining because that's just what they do. It's a hard media market. But I'm seeing it on the national level. I'm seeing the national shows talk about this. I'm hearing local Chicago, Milwaukee shows talk about it. So it's not just a Boston media thing. It's getting national attention, and for the reason of what Rafael Devers is actually saying, which isn't not great optics.
Right.
But we can get on to some better things.
Right.
The other great story, I think, in baseball right now is the resurgence of Javy Baez. 28 RBIs on the season. He had multiple games in a row with home runs and the infamous now walk-off home run, which was really cool to see vintage Javy. And I'm sick, and I'm trying to get through this cough, but that's okay. What are you here? I'll let you talk then. What are your thoughts on the Javy Baez resurgence?
I am so happy for him, and I'm so happy for the Detroit fan base. I mean, we have always had a soft spot in our heart for Javy Baez. I mean, we've been with him since 2012 when he got drafted and had all the promise and was hitting the monster home runs and making electric plays in the field. Like, we know the kind of player he could be. And to trade him away was very, very, granted, it yielded us Pete Crow Armstrong, which is another just amazing, incredible electric player who does a lot of the same things that Javy does. But Detroit, I mean, just a sports city that has struggled for so long. It's like you finally have somebody who could ignite this, lead these young players, bring people back into Comerica and watching Tigers baseball again. And then he just completely flops. And I've been to several games since I moved over here, and being in that park and seeing him do some incredible things and seeing him struggle and talking to Tiger fans and just almost apologizing on his behalf. It's like, this is not the player that he is. Like, he is such an amazing player, amazing talent. Like, he's just going through something. And I mean, this year has just been completely different. A switch has been flipped. He's playing different positions. He's hitting homers again. He's getting on base at a higher clip. May has been an exceptional month for him. He has over an 1,000 OPS in this month. He's got 16 RBIs. Those 2 3-run shots against the Red Sox, including the walk-off smash. I mean, they swept Boston. It's just great to see. And then, yeah, him playing some short, some third, playing the outfield, robbing home runs, doing what he does. The Tigers are a good team. Their pitching staff is excellent. They're scoring runs.
27 and 15, right?
He's a big reason for that. I saw this graphic. They had his stats right next to Bobby Witt's, and they were like, "Who's the better hitter in the Central? Like, who's a better hitter?" And it's hard to compare. I mean, he's hitting 309 on the season. OPS is almost 900. He's just doing great things, and I hope it continues. And I hope he continues to just fuel this young Tigers team. They're a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, coming out of spring, he was kind of an afterthought. So, and he had to do this to kind of crack that lineup. They're a good team. They're a good lineup. So
yeah, and they're 11-4 in their last 15.
Yep.
And they're doing really well. They've had a couple injuries to their pitching staff lately, which is really, really tough to see. Like Casey Mize was one of them, and he was pitching really, really well. So hopefully they just continue to roll. I really have enjoyed watching them for the past 8+ years.
Yeah.
Really just evolve and people doing better and younger guys becoming leaders. It's been fun.
They're building off their postseason run from last year and looking to do that again. The Twins have also won 11 games in a row.
The
Cardinals were on a 9-game winning streak, lost one, split a doubleheader yesterday with the Phillies, so
Yeah.
they've won 10 of their last 11 games. We don't like to see that. But yeah, some hot teams in both the AL and NL Central. So the NL Central race is now a 1-game lead for the Cubs.
Hmm.
But yeah, the Twins started off the season. I think they were the last team to get a win this
Yeah.
spring. They were 0-5, 0-6, whatever it was. Or no, sorry, the Braves were 0-7, who are now 500. So here we go.
Right.
We're
Just
back
like
to
we thought
square
they'd
one.
be.
It
Hmm.
just takes a little bit. They took a couple tries though to get back to 500,
Right.
but yeah, you have some really hot baseball being played in the Midwest right now.
Yeah, and I attribute it to the pitching, man. The pitching over this stretch for both teams has been incredible. I was doing a little bit of digging into the stats, and in the last like 10 or 11 games for both teams, I think 8 games for both teams, they've given up 3 runs or less as a staff. The Twins, Bailey Ober, Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, who has been a hot name when it comes to trade talks. All of them are pitching exceptionally well. For the Cards, Matthew Liberatore, who is their top pitching prospect, they've been waiting for him to do really well. He's finally just pitching exceptionally well, going out there, giving the
Yeah,
Cards some stuff. Eric Fetty has been a great addition for them.
Fetty.
Last year and this year, Sonny Gray was pitching pretty well until the last start. He got roughed up a little bit, but
Miles
uh,
Michaelis has pitched well,
my,
which
my
is
well, Miles Michaelis, his I would say out of his last like 5 or 6 starts, like four of them have been pretty good.
yeah,
The thing about Michaelis is that he'll give you innings. Sometimes he'll get knocked around, but he'll log some innings for you. And then when it comes to the hitting, the Twins are getting a lot from Byron Buxton. I know he just kind of went out with a concussion, possibly.
yeah.
Um,
Him and
but
Correa collided today after he hit a home run. So
yeah, so I
not his
mean,
legs
he's
though. It's
been
not his knee. It's
it's
not a
it's not his
hamstring.
knee, it's not his
So
legs.
you, that is for the Twins. That is a good kind of injury for him. Not that you
Yeah,
want anyone to ever have a concussion, but as
right.
long as it is not the lower half for him,
Yeah.
that's a good sign.
And
So
just like Javy Baez, like the game is better when Byron Buxton is healthy because he
yeah,
does so many things very well. He's a 1A athlete, like can fly. We've been watching him make plays since he came up.
since
I remember this.
2015. Yeah,
I remember that. Remember, I think they were playing the White Sox.
yep,
Maybe they were playing somebody. Um, he like made a sliding catch in the outfield and like popped up and threw a strike to home plate and threw somebody out, like just an absolute frozen rope. But he's unbelievable. And then the Cardinals, I mean, they're just starting to hit, man. I mean, Donovan and Mason Wynn and Contreras is up to almost 260.
yeah. Wilson
Um,
Contreras has been the catalyst for that.
right. And then Mason Wynn's average has gone up like 60 points in the
Yeah,
last like 15 games. And then Lars Nootbaar's doing really well at the top of their order as well. I mean, we were talking about them a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I just thought they'd be, and that's kind of when they started to go up a little bit after we started talking
yeah.
about them a little bit.
We'll see if
So,
they can sustain this. I think
right,
it's they didn't really change much in the offseason.
no,
These pitchers, like I said, it's not like they added anything crazy.
right,
So we'll see if that turns into anything or if it's just
right.
a hot stretch or
It's guys rising to the occasion. I mean, Sonny Gray is a really good leader of that staff, and same with Fetty. Like they're good guys, and I'm sure that they'll level off and pitch just fine. And if Liberatore can continue to give them some innings, and Michaelis can continue to just grind some stuff out, I don't want the Cardinals to be there, but they probably will be there. They probably won't go away anytime
yeah,
soon.
I'm not hopeful for them, but it's again, I always hold to it. Kick the Cardinals while they're down. You want to keep them where they're at, and here they come.
Right.
So
Yep.
this is
Yep.
kind of more of a familiar place for them to be.
Right.
Another huge. It was. I mean, I couldn't turn to a different channel without seeing the same headline pop up a couple days ago. Um, Rob Manfred had redacted the lifetime ban or said that it ends at death, which means Pete Rose, along with all the Black Sox players, most notably Shoeless Joe Jackson, are no longer on the ineligible list. There's a slew of other names that are on there. The only two that are Hall of Fame worthy is Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose. You could argue maybe Eddie Seacott didn't really have the numbers, but all the rest of the Black Sox were good players, but most of them got cut off in the prime of their career. How do you feel about those guys being eligible? I think it's 2028 is the first time they would be eligible for Hall of Fame voting. I mean, you and Tim were having a spirited debate via text message, so it's a good conversation, but I think everyone's got an opinion about it. I definitely feel a certain way about it now that, especially now that Pete Rose has passed away. What's your initial feeling? Would you let these guys in? And then we could also relate it to the steroid era guys. Are those Hall of Famers now all of a sudden? But
the steroid era guys, let's save for another day because I have a lot of opinions about that.
We'll stick to these two in particular.
Right. So this first part, especially Rose and Shoeless Joe. First off, like when it comes to Manfred's decision, like I'm glad that he lifted the restriction. Like the thing about like the deceased player thing, it's like that just seems kind of petty to me. You know, it's like, all right, so the guy has to die, and then he doesn't get to experience like the sport's highest honor that it has. So because he's dead and can't be around to enjoy it, like now it's okay. Now he can be off the list. So that was the kind of like I was first elated when I saw it because I'm like, finally, like this should have happened a while ago, especially for Rose to me, because just the stipulations behind it, like he never bet as a player. When he bet as a manager, he never bet against his own team. Like I don't think betting in sports, especially in the sport that you're playing, is right. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but I also don't think that you can punish a guy when he's in a completely different role in his career for a different thing. He was going in as a player. He's the hit king. He's one of the best to ever play the game. That made no sense. And I think was Giamatti had the beef against him. Paul is his kid. It's I don't know what Giamatti's first name is.
Paul Giamatti. Or it's not.
I thought Paul Giamatti is his kid who's an actor. That's Paul. Well, whatever. Commissioner Giamatti. Yeah, he just had something against. I just thought that was completely wrong, and yeah, I'm glad that they're eligible again, but I just think it's kind of petty. I thought that whole thing was petty.
My first,
at least how it's described.
Yeah, my first thought when I saw it, especially because Pete Rose literally just died not even a couple months ago, was ass, and my second thought was BS.
I thought you were gonna say hole.
Well, sure, combine them. But it just bad timing. I just feel like it's bad timing, bad taste, whatever you want to say. To withhold it this long and then to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna allow these people. Again, Shoeless Joe has been dead for what, 40 years, 30 years,
longer than that probably.
Okay, like that's not really affecting anybody. He knew he wasn't, getting into the Hall of Fame. He was barred from baseball. But this one, because he was lobbying for it for so long. He even said the last couple of years, he's like, don't put me in when I'm dead. I don't want to go in when I'm dead. So if you're not going to put me in now, he is baseball's all-time hit leader. He played 24 seasons. He won multiple World Series. He won an MVP. He is arguably one of the best baseball players of all time. We all know that. You don't need to put him in the Hall of Fame to know that. And if you weren't willing to do that when he's alive, ass. That's all I feel like that's, I mean, so, and they're going to probably in 2028, the executive committee of the, whatever electoral that they have is going to vote him in, most likely, I would say. And then his family has to decide whether they put him in or not. But I just think it's horribly timed. It's classless. I mean, Steve McMichael just got in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's on his deathbed to do it, which is also ass. He should have been in a long time ago, but he at least got to enjoy the gold jacket for 5-6 weeks, whatever it was before he passed away. Okay. So for me, it's just, again, it's tasteless. It's too late. It's, based on the wording of it, technically they couldn't do this until he passed away. So whatever, that's really how you feel. If that's the cop out you want to use, I feel again, like it's just too late.
Right. And that's how you're going to treat one of your premier guys. You saw him anytime that any player was around him. Like there's that great video where I think he was with Frank Thomas and maybe David Ortiz or A-Rod, but he was
Yes, yeah,
with
when you talk about hitting.
two
Yeah.
he was talking about hitting with two incredible hitters. I'm pretty sure it was Frank Thomas and I think it was David Ortiz or A-Rod. It was one of the two of them. But it's like these players and these coaches, managers, former exec, like they have so much respect for the guy. And it's like he knows he made a mistake, but it's like should he have to? He had to wait or spend his entire life trying to atone for it, continuing to be present in the
Yep.
game. Like they had no problem like marching him out there and doing any other stuff, interviewing him. Um, yeah, I'm with you. I just think
Yep.
it now you're gonna do it. Now you're gonna make a spectacle out of it. Now you're gonna honor him. Like that's just
Yeah. The Reds a couple years ago brought him back into the ballpark. Good for them. The
right.
Reds did a Pete Rose Day a couple days ago when this news broke. Good for them. I think the Reds. I mean, I've been to the Pete Rose Hall of Fame. Me and Chris went the year it opened. Very cool. The Reds have fully embraced him. They have a statue out front of him head first sliding. We've seen that. Very cool. Baseball is late to the party.
Yeah,
Sorry, the organization did really well.
yeah.
Um, I have two. Actually, I have two nuggets. I lied to you. I have two nuggets for today. One of them comes from the weekly show that Nico Horner does on the Score, and he
Perfect.
talks about a lot of things. Nico's so great. I mean, the video of him on it was his birthday on Tuesday, and then he scored the
Him
game-winning
scoring.
run.
Oh, that was so
The
great.
video of him rounding third with the smile on, he's screaming in the he's like, because he knew the ball was in the corner. Fantastic. But we always talk about hitting the ball the other way and what it takes and like why don't guys like hit the ball the other way more. So Nico had a really good point on it because he's a guy that's up the middle a lot, other way a lot. He doesn't pull the ball a ton. He's not a power hitter, and he just had a really good, like, I don't know if anybody caught it, but I was just listening to him talk about describing how people hit the ball the other way. Because Nico is all about if I'm making good contact, good things will happen. It doesn't always lead to a good result.
Mhm.
So he hit a ball the night before. It was 100 miles per hour off the bat. The launch angle wasn't quite there, but they're reading the stats off to him. They go, Nico, that should have been a home run. He goes, no, you hit a fly ball to center field at any speed at Wrigley Field, it's not going out. It needs to be this, this, and this. He goes, so I knew the second I hit that ball, even though it's well connected, it wasn't going out. But then he goes into talking about hitting the ball the other way. He goes, hitting is all about timing. He goes, and I love people when they tell me, oh, go the other way, go the other way. Well, when I go the other way, that's because I was just a little bit late. I was
Mhm.
tracking the ball a little bit late. He said, do you think I have enough time to think about,
No, no.
because he goes, I have to decide. I have to decide if this ball is a ball or strike instantly, right?
Yeah.
And then I have
After it
to
has like 12 inches of horizontal break.
exactly. So he was just very subtle about it. He goes,
That's great.
hitting the ball the other way is all about timing. He goes, when I pull the ball, I'm early. When I hit the ball the other way, I'm late. If I'm up the middle, I was dead on time. That's all it is. He goes, so when you see guys that are, oh, he hit the ball down the line, he was probably just late, but he still had the window to hit the ball fair. Like it's
Mhm.
comical to listen to him talk. People need to really embrace what he offers mentally to the game because he went to Stanford. Guys,
Mhm.
he's brilliant mind,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that just made me like think about every opposite field hit I ever had because I was an opposite field hitter. No, I was just late all the time. But like that's really what it is, and it's yes. At some point when the ball's outside, if you recognize that, if you try to pull that ball, it's not going to happen. But it's just all about your timing. You just all about getting to the ball on time. So it's just cool to listen to him talk about that.
Hmm.
Again, if you're not listening to Nico on Tuesdays, he's fantastic. Great pulling
Yeah.
him. Second nugget for today. Topps Baseball 2025 released their first set. They do an updated set middle of the year. I saw someone completed it. They're like, oh, I just completed my Red Sox autograph set.
Mm.
There's 201 of these autograph cards. They're like base cards. They're 1990 retro style
Oh.
baseball cards. it's more the names on the list for these cards. There's again 201 names. I'm not gonna name all of them. The coolest one by far that I saw was Nomar Garciaparra.
Okay.
But when I'm saying like it catches everyone from the 80s to like present day. So some of the names here. This is alphabetical.
This is all Red Sox.
Well, this is everybody that I thought was interesting. But there's a lot of names here. So what I'm saying is it's hit all the spectrum, and then I'll show you.
But you're saying there's 201 autographs in this set.
In this set.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know if
it ranges from like the 80s until now.
So I'm going to show on my screen. Ryan can't see it right now, but I'm showing the Nomar Garciaparra card. It's just so cool, and his autograph is so clean. It's very cool. So that's the Nomar card. But here are some of the names on the list, and I think there's something for everybody in this list. It's cool because a lot of times when you're collecting cards when you're younger, it's only the new players, it's only players we never heard of. Alphabetically, Andre Dawson, Adam Jones, Barry Bonds, Bernie Williams, Carlos Beltran, Cliff Lee, Dustin Pedroia, Eric Gagne, Edgar Martinez, Fergie Jenkins, Gary Sheffield in a Brewers uniform.
Man.
Jorge Posada, Kenny Lofton, who stiffed me and Chris Stilo as a kid. He looked right at us and we're like, Lofton, and he goes, no, and then walked the other way. So it's cool that you have the opportunity to get this guy's autograph. Kerry Wood, Mark Burley, Mark Grace, Nomar, Paul Konerko, Paul Molitor, Ryan Howard, Torrey Hunter.
That'd be a good one.
Of some of the letters. Albert Pujols, Adrian Beltre, Bo Jackson, Barry Larkin, Buster Posey, Derek Jeter, Cal Ripken, David Ortiz, David Wright, Greg Maddux, Ichiro, Pudge, Jason Varitek, Mark McGuire, and Sandy Koufax.
Wow.
And again, there's 201 of these. So to collect all of them would be insane. But you have the opportunity in Topps 2025 to get autographs from essentially everybody noteworthy from present day till now. Roger Clemens in a Red Sox uniform is available. It's just a really cool set. Again, I'm not sponsored by Topps, but I saw someone post that, and I was like, that's awesome. Because he had Ortiz, Pedroia, Nomar, Clemens, Wade Boggs, all these guys. So
he had the Red Sox from that set.
He had all the Red Sox from the set. It was Devers too, Rafaela, Jim Rice, I think, was in there as well. So
when you see stuff, like I see a lot of like card stuff, like baseball cards, basketball cards, Pokemon cards. You just get so nostalgic, and it's like, man, maybe I should buy. And then I think to myself, no. I don't collect stuff. Like the things I collect are like shoes, and I wear those. I don't collect things that just sit on the shelf permanently. I don't think I'm ever going to get into that until maybe when we have kids and if they're interested in that kind of thing. But I can't do that.
You're still better off buying the one that you want, because I'm pretty sure a case of these costs $70. And if you want the Nomar card, it's going for $50 on eBay right now. So just go ahead and buy the Nomar card. You don't need all the other cards.
Well, the likelihood of you pulling like a Sandy Koufax is probably very low. It's probably numbered. Is Ohtani in that set?
I'm sure he is.
He has to be.
He wasn't.
He has to be.
He's not that he's not noteworthy, but I didn't list any current players. There's
most of those
Aaron
were older
Judge,
guys.
all those guys are in there.
Bernie Williams would be cool. Bernie was my guy back in the day. I liked Bernie more than Jeter.
A lot of those 90s Yankees are in there. Yeah, it was just it's cool to see guys that we just saw, again, that we grew up with, are now part of not a retro set, but kind of like, you know what? Get these guys to sign as many authenticated autographs as possible. Just gives you a chance to get them. Some of these are numbered, some of them are not, but I thought it was just a really cool diagram, and I'll show Ryan in a minute, but you guys all saw what the Nomar looks like. It's so clean. They're all in blue Sharpie. So it's really cool.
Right. Yep. Yes,
and
sir.
Also,
well,
I feel like we were stiffed quite a bit as kids, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Got discouraged. I got a few decent ones, but not a lot. I was not super bold as a young lad. Kind of just wanted to let the players do their job, and I enjoyed watching them play, and hounding them for autographs was not something I ever felt comfortable doing.
Well, now's your
So,
chance to get
and
them without him.
right, I guess, yeah, when I'm old. Any baseball coming up? Any games that you're going to? I have been posting on Instagram, not as much, haven't done as many reels. Apologies for that, but trying to share. Like, I want to make this more about like our baseball content, not just what we record, not just our shows. So if we're going to baseball games or doing baseball stuff, posting that at least on the Instagram page. I did post some pictures from my trip to East Lansing, Michigan State Spartans baseball versus Oregon Ducks baseball. I got the Friday night starters, two of the best pitchers in the Big Ten. It was a great pitching matchup. State ended up getting their lone win in that series, their first win against a ranked team this year. They got this dude. He's like 6'8". His name is Joseph Jerwa. I was sitting by a Mariners scout, and I kind of peered over and like looked at his phone because he had it turned towards me, and he was talking about how they could see him being a second or third round pick. He will be a candidate for Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. On the other side of it, Grayson Grisnett, he actually threw a complete game shutout, 11 Ks. He was hitting mid 90s on the radar gun. Oregon Ducks, their ace, Grayson Grisnell, another lefty, not a super big guy, but great pitcher, innings eater, 8 innings, 1 run. I think he had like 5 or 6 Ks. Also candidate for Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. He will definitely be I think a top 10 rounder. Great. And then Oregon's got some nice bats that I think will also get picked. But that was a lot of fun. And then I posted some pictures from our time at Miller Park when the Cubs visited. Didn't get the result we wanted, but I got a couple cool shots of Kyle Tucker, PCA, got a cool picture of Dansby, a couple nice pics of the park. I want to continue posting stuff like that. But as far as upcoming baseball, you got any games you're going to or anything like that?
Nothing solid. We want to get Eli to a game, so
Right.
we might go to the Milwaukee Milkmen, which
Yeah.
is in the American Association. So that's a local, not affiliated minor league team, but
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
semi-pro.
So that might be something that's cool, different experience. They have the cow pasture there.
Yep.
That's what they call it. So we'll see. We might do that this summer at some point. The Red Sox are in town Memorial Day weekend. I don't know if I'm going to get to any of those games, but
Yeah.
interested. The Brewers did just post too. July 25th. They're doing a 25-year celebration of Miller Park.
Okay.
I know it's American Family Field now, Miller Park. Since they built it, and they're going to have a lot of players from 2001 till now.
Geoff.
Probably Jeff Jenkins. The pictures they didn't list names, but it was Prince Fielder. They had Ricky Leach on there. They had Corey Hart. They had Giovanni Gallardo. So a lot of names that we grew up watching. So that might be something I'm interested in going to. We'll see how busy it is, but especially Prince Fielder. I love Prince Fielder.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of the highlights. I want to get to Wrigley at some point. We will.
Yeah.
But yeah, and other than that, though, I'm just watching the 6-screen MLB Network chaos that goes on every night. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I know we were watching it the other day when you were.
Yeah.
You were here,
It was pretty fun.
On, man. There's a lot. Elena's like, "What are you guys watching?" We're like,
"Which
left,
game are you watching?
right,
Which side? Upper left. Yeah, middle." Yeah, we will next Friday. Leah's off work because she doesn't work Fridays, but I am taking off work, and we are actually shooting down to Cincinnati for the weekend. Completely forgot it was Memorial Day weekend, so that'll be a nice having a bonus Monday off. But the Cubs are in town. We are going to the Friday. Yeah, we are going to the Friday night game. I wanted to catch them. So we'll see what kind of matchup we get for pitching, but excited to go to that. Saturday we got some stuff planned, but since we don't have to be anywhere on Monday, I might see if we can sneak in that Sunday game. Possibly, it might be really hot, and that might not be Leah's cup of tea. But I'll see if I can. Yeah. We'll see if that's in the cards, and then in a few short weeks here, I will be headed to Omaha for the first 3 days of the week. College World Series action. I'm excited to see who's going to be there and The buzz around Omaha. I've never spent any time in Omaha. I've never been to the College World Series. I hear it's a riot. I just want to see some good baseball, and I'm excited for that.
And did Oregon make it through, or no?
I think they're still they.
Still
I
fighting.
think they have. I think this is the last week of the season, or one of the last weeks of the season. They are currently fifth in the country, so they have a really good shot. But you got to win regional,
Yeah.
super regional. There's lots of stuff that needs to happen. Before then, the College World Series is the elite of the elite. So I'm hoping that they make it through. I'd love to watch them play again.
Yeah. Whoever gets there, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, you talk about the heat in Cincinnati. Me and Chris went for a 3-game stretch in 2006 over Father's Day weekend. Man, was it
Oh,
hot. I remember we came home and I think someone asked me about the ballpark food. We didn't eat anything all weekend because it was just so hot. We were just buying drinks. We were buying water. We were buying sodas. So, yeah, if you do go to the day game, go underneath the overhang or in the upper
yeah.
deck where you have shade. Do
Yep.
not sit in the sun. Don't recommend it.
Right.
It's like
No.
Kansas City in the middle of summer. Oh, we've done
Oh,
that
that was
before
brutal.
too.
That was either that or we went to a Tigers White Sox game at the G spot, and we were sitting in the outfield. It was like there was like a continuation of a game that had gotten rained out, and then our game started. They let us in early. We got roasted. It was so hot.
Yep, stay care of other people. Chris Stilo also in Minnesota, getting
Oh,
blisters on his arm. It just,
yes.
sit in the shade, people. What can I
We need
say?
to have Chris and or Tim on soon. That'd be a good
Try. We got to try it.
conversation.
Tim, we got to get after bedtime, but yeah,
Yeah.
especially if we're going to talk about steroid era players.
That would be fun.
That'll
I'd
be
like to
fun.
do that.
That'll
That'd
be
be a
fun.
fun
Almost as good as
conversation.
a Rafi Devers
Right.
argument, but that's cool.
Right. That is good.
All right,
It is
guys.
cool.
Well, more baseball to come. So Ryan's got a lot of stuff coming up, so that'll be interesting
Hmm.
to again hear his stories on that when he gets back.
Yep.
But until next time, boots come in pairs. Take it easy.
Peace.